We're back from break. I'm David Boles. This is Boles.tv. It's Boles.television, coming to you live from the East Coast of the United States. Usually around noon, usually Tuesdays, Thursdays. It depends on what's happening. A lot of things going on. Our deaf opera project is going full steam ahead, as we just sort of discussed. And now, on that same note, we're going to have a brief conversation about language learning. And I'm in the process of writing a bolesblogs.com article about this very topic. And I'll go much more into depth and detail about the various services I'm using in order to learn Italian. And I'm learning Italian because of our deaf opera project. I want to be able to read the major works, even though it's old Italian, just to try to get the understanding, the feel for the language. Now, it's interesting because I'm using a conglomeration of several different apps, foreign language apps, and I'll just discuss a couple of them with you right now. Is Busuu, a Czech company, Busuu. It's interesting. Now, my Boles Blogs article is going to focus only on services that offer lifetime learning for one price, because that's the way it should be. Busuu, on the other hand, is not. You pay every year through the nose for their service. But it does offer something that none of the other apps really offer, and that is this sense of community correction, where you can, if you're a native English speaker or a native Italian speaker or a plethora of different languages, you can ask and are sort of required as part of their learning system to ask other people using that service to correct in writing, either something you've written and they write back, or spoken, that you speak, record, and submit, and they speak, record back. Stories, sentences, paragraphs, interesting information in your target language, TL for short. Now, it's interesting, and I have a lot of people who ask me to correct their stuff because my bio says I'm a writer, I work in New York City, so I think people are naturally coming to me to ask for help because I do a lot of the reviewing. And I sort of stopped Busuu for a while because I was, spending a lot of my time correcting people's English, then studying my Italian. But that's okay. I'm getting back into it now for a reason I'll tell you in a moment. But what the most interesting thing is, and this is the hard work of the editor or the correcting friend on Busuu, is how strict do you want to be? There are a lot of people who, maybe misspell something, or who add an A to a word because they're Italian that doesn't belong there in English. But, you're reading, you're listening to what they say, and it's understandable. You understand what they're saying. 90% right, 95% right. So do you, as the, not instructor, but as the corrector, do you correct them at 100%? If they forget a comma, if they don't capitalize the word Sunday, do you say, hey, it's good, and let it go? Or do you go in there and click the edit button and get very technocratically precise? And you're part of it too. Now, sometimes when you're just starting, you say something and it gets corrected. I get corrected. And the correction is so specific, nitpicky, that it's lost on me. And this is good because most of my life I've been an editor where I just go in there and fix something, clean it up, and it's done and we move on. But when you're on the other side of it, especially in a foreign language that's not your target language, your native language, you sit there and you say, okay, they're correcting me. I'm not getting it. I don't understand what they're saying. And in Busuu, you can go in there and say, oh, thank you so much. What do you mean? And you can do that. But are you going to do it in Italian, which you don't understand? You really can't write it yet. Are you going to write it in English, which they may be studying but may not understand? It's a very interesting experience to try to figure out where you want to draw the line. How hard do you want to be on these people learning very earnestly your language, your native language? And what do you expect in return? Because you correct them, they turn right around and correct you back. And no one's trying to hurt anybody. No one's trying to, you are all trying to be in this world, in this language translation together. But it doesn't always seem specific in the intention. And I know there are some people who are very, very, very strict. And I tend to be strict, but I'm not sure if that helps very much. So now instead of, if there are 10 things wrong, I try to maybe pick out a couple of the most important things to fix and let other things go. And maybe that's not responsible. Maybe you're supposed to, beat their words within an inch of your talent. But I'm thinking it's easier to kind of encourage people in their learning process. Because people who are just starting out, really just to say hi in their name is very difficult for them. And so to go in there, as some people do, not me, go in there and crush them with, they submit, hi, my name is Sarah, I'm Italian, and they get crushed because they didn't do this or that, or they said the wrong word, or they added an A, with a paragraph of correction. Seems to me like overkill. So I try not to do that, but other people try to do that. But it's a very interesting experience. So if you're on Busuu and you're learning Italian, or Italian, or you're learning English and need help with it, find me, befriend me, and we'll make it work. Now, I was on Busuu for a while, then stopped, and I went hard into Babbel. Babbel. A lot of television commercials about Babbel, which should be a shocker and a concern, as I will share in a moment. So you get on Babbel. They do offer a lifetime subscription, which I love, which means you can study any of their languages for the rest of your life for one price, right? Who wouldn't want that? That's smart money. However, there are things that can happen that make your lifetime subscription worth absolutely nothing. Zero. And that experience was this. So I was deep into my Italian study. You can't do everything with every app, so you have to make decisions. So I had put Busuu off for a while because I'm writing my review of lifetime apps and resources, one price, for the rest of your life you can study, because learning a language is a lifetime commitment, really, if you want to stay sharp. So I was, a month into my Babbel study with Italian, and I came upon, I believe it was lesson 7, where everything stopped. It was a blank screen. which was sort of terrifying because you're in the middle of a very, very long lesson, and Babbel's lessons are very, very, very long. There's no such thing as getting in and out of a Babbel lesson. It's 30 minutes. So I was 25 minutes in on this lesson, and it had blank screen. So I thought, oh no, refresh the screen, nothing, blank screen. Went back and, studied some other apps on my browser, computer, everything's fine. So I think, okay, let's go back and see if, Babbel's unfrozen, blank screen. So I, did a hard refresh. All my accounts there, I see all my lessons, nothing's lost. So I click on lesson 7. And it starts me all over from the first question. So I'm thinking, oh no. Now, Rosetta Stone, when you stop in the middle of a lesson, you can go back and pick up right from where you left off. With Babbel, they make you start all over if something happens in the middle of a lesson. That is a mistake. Your progression should be saved lesson by lesson. So if something blows up or stops working, you can go right back to where you left off and continue learning. Not with Babbel. So I did the whole lesson all over again up to the point where I get the blank screen. Same error. Okay, so as a technical guy who's written many computer books since 1994, I say to myself, this is repeatable. This is not affecting any other of my learning apps or anything else I'm doing today. It's getting stuck on exactly the same lesson at the same spot. Take my screenshots, make the report, send it into Babbel. And it takes them like a day or two to get back to me. Meanwhile, I can't move forward. I can't continue. I can't skip the lesson. Babbel will not let me move beyond their error. So that means they have to fix the error before I can move on with my own life. So I think a day or two later, I get on Babbel to see if it's fixed. And I have this message waiting for me from technical support. And it infuriated me because it was just simply boilerplate. Saying, oh, clear your cache, restart your browser. I couldn't believe it. This is the level of support from Babbel. Repeatable, screenshots, very specific, time, place, function, all submitted, report, and all they do is brush you off with restart your browser. And I told him that. I said, I cannot believe that is your answer to my report. My report is longer than your answer. The answer is, that doesn't sound right. Let me go fix it. Hey, I fixed it. Or let them go in and say, hey, we looked at lesson 7 at this point, and you need to do this and this to get around it. Or it's not happening on our computer, which is what they usually say. Not happening on our computer. Why don't you try a different computer? Whatever. I'm thinking, this is how it comes. This is why these lifetime subscriptions are very dangerous, because once they have your money, they don't care. Once you've paid, why should they talk to you? It's almost better to, a lot of these learning apps you can buy a year in advance instead of month to month. But sometimes month to month, even though it costs you more, is the better deal. Because these companies can't turn around and say, well, we already have your money. We don't want to help you. Who do you think you are? It's very annoying. So I haven't heard back from them. I've given up on Babbel and my lifetime subscription. I'm back to Busuu for now because I really enjoyed Busuu. I asked if they had a lifetime subscription and they said no. So I can't include them in my review. But I do like the component where you can correct other people, they can correct you. It's very connective, integral. You feel like they're helping you, you're helping them, even though you don't know each other. And it's really a wonderful idea that is probably very technically difficult to pull off, but it works. So another bit in my learning arsenal is forgotten books. What is this? I'll show you. This is an amazing, interesting website that has over 1 million books that are out of print or the copyright has expired. And they're forgotten books because they are not currently being published anywhere. So this company, based in London, I believe, has scanned all of these books, and some of them are, thrown away from libraries. Oh, where do these books come from? Oh, the library in California. And people get all upset. Oh, you're stealing library books. No, the libraries don't want books anymore. They want everything to be on a computer. So I'll go to the menu, Forgotten Books. You can download, if you become a member, you can download a PDF of the book you want. You can go to Amazon, buy a hard copy of the book in either hardback or paperback. It's very slick. Now, let's look up Italian. Want to learn old-time Italian? Now let's see how fast I responded. A dictionary of 2,000 Italian, French, German terms, the Italian cookbook. And if you're a member, you get, I think it's like $8.95 a month, and you get free access to everything that they have. If you just want to buy a PDF at a time, a copy of the book at a time, you can do that too. You don't have to be a member of anything. The Italian Navy and the World, notable collections and paintings, a complete etymology of the English language, Italian conversation grammar. What's that? So you click on that, right? It gives you the whole look of the book. You can add it to My Books, which I already have. You can download it, which I already have as a PDF file. You can read it right now. You can go to Amazon, buy it in hardcover or in paperback. The excerpt. We begin by dividing the grammar into 2 parts. And it goes on and on and on and on. Now, you click on, hey, read now. Hey, here we go. And see, it's an old book. Everything old is new again. 5th edition, published in London. What year? Oh, 1886. Now, for me, as a pseudo-historian and a lover of things old and new, I find this completely delightful. Who in the world wouldn't want to go read an English grammar book about Italian published in 1886 in London? I think it's just delightful. And it makes me sad that these sorts of books are forgotten. And you can see this is old world type, written in English. And sometimes I find these old readers to be much more helpful than, the current textbooks. Here are the lessons, the contents, pronunciation, letters of the alphabet, of the article. So here you go. Before A, O, and U, and before consonants, it is pronounced like the English K in caro, corso, culto, creta, credere. This is the same thing you get in Italian language books right now. And this is from over 100 years ago. I just love it. It shows you the history and the importance of a language that's still living. The first lesson on the article. The article indicates the gender of the substantives. The Italian language has 2 genders, masculine and the feminine. There are 2 articles in Italian as in English, the definite art and the indefinite art. It's beautiful. What can I say? I absolutely love it. So that is Forgotten Books. I'll put the website, forgottenbooks.com, in our Discord server. What is our Discord server? I'll put it up for you right now. That it is. Live for you now. So this is Forgotten Books. Here's the menu. We'll go back to the menu and go back to home. It's a wonderful resource. And the deaf books are really spectacular. Let's look up deaf. A lot of Indian Sign Language deaf books. Graphical studies of marriages of the deaf by our old awful enemy, Alexander Graham Bell, who did not believe in sign language, who had a deaf wife, and who believed that all deaf people should have their hands tied behind their back so they didn't dare use sign language to communicate. Oh, yes, he just wanted them to, I guess, suffer through using their voice. And if they couldn't hear, couldn't understand, well, too bad for them, better for him. Weird, right? But a lot of information. So if you're doing a research paper, if you want to, compare and contrast what we used to think and what we think today, Forgotten Books is a tremendous resource. Now, the other thing I want to mention about immersion into a language is you can, buy child readers, comic books. I'll show some of those to you at another time, to help you understand and learn a language. And one of the best ways to do it is to watch Italian language shows. Now, you can get some of it on YouTube. If you have a cable company subscription, sometimes they have very specific Italian channels, Spanish channels. Spanish channels seem to be included in most of the packages on the East Coast. You can get French language channels, German channels. Usually it's one or two channels that you pay like $10 a month extra to have added to your subscription. And the Italian channel for Xfinity Comcast is very good, but I as I understand it, it's like the PBS channel for Italian. Not a lot of commercials and a lot of very interesting art and documentaries. But it's not Italian TV. And they say if you want to learn a foreign language, the most fun way to learn it is through commercials, because they promote things. They're very repetitive. Buy this, buy now, buy this, buy now. So you can kind of catch on to what they're selling. They have very intensive images that go with the words you're trying to learn. And it's very mainstream. You learn the colloquial turns of phrases, right? So here we go. Cibor TV is this. I actually have it. I'm reviewing it. It's like a little thing. It's HDMI. You plug it into your television set. You bring it up. And it gives you 25, 50, 100 different television channels, 300, that you can watch. And they're all in Italian. And it's really terrific. And you buy a subscription for a year that subscribes you to all of these different channels. And they have English channels that, talk about Italy. But what's interesting is 60% of the channels that you watch are American movies and American TV shows dubbed voiceover into Italian, which is not always a lot of fun, because I don't want to watch, Friends dubbed in Italian. But if you know the story of Friends and you know the characters, now they speak, then you can kind of put it all together and say, oh, okay, this is the Italian version of that. But you just turn this on and you connect it to your Wi-Fi network, and you have 300 Italian channels in your American home. So you buy the box. Sometimes after you've purchased the box, you just, pay for your subscription for the streaming, and it's very fast. It says it's a 60-second setup. When you make your purchase, they send you a code, and you plug in the box, and you turn on the machine, and you start it going. And it says, "What's your code?" You punch in your code, and then you have the TV. Now, what's interesting, and this is, a little on the sad side, this is the remote for this TV, for this box. Right? Okay. So as you can see, there are no numbers. So you're clicking OK a lot. You're going up and down the channels list. You can't, punch in the number you want. You just have to click OK, click OK to change the channel. And some channels sort of disappear. You get a lot of Italian opera, a lot of Greek tragedy performances in HD 4K that are spoken in Italian and very visually interesting. But every once in a while, the feed goes out and it says, change the channel or wait for the feed to come back, and you wait for the feed to come back. And sometimes it comes back and sometimes it doesn't come back. But that's just part of it. It's really a wonderful, interesting, tremendously helpful service. If you want to immerse yourself in a language, and as the days go by, and as I study every day for an hour or two, you catch a word here, you catch a word there, and when you start catching words, then you start catching the words and putting them in order, and then they start making sense, and you're making sentences of your own. So we'll talk about this every once in a while, these little tricks, doodads, methods of study, of learning, of keeping your mind alive as you age and as you get into new projects and new functions of living a human life. I thank you so much for being here today. I've enjoyed our time together. I will see you again next time. You know where to find me. Get in touch. Take care. Be well. See you soon.